Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. Today is a really fun conversation about speedrunning comps in Naxx and Tier 7 with my boy NLG. Make sure you stick to the end to see the entire roster as we go over every single raid spot and the reason for bringing them and the reason for stacking them. But before we get started, I do have one quick ad that I need to run, and this is my first ad that I've ever done on any of my channels, so please check it out. Are you starting a business? Do you need help drafting a will or planning your estate? The Brashears Law Group is a team of dedicated attorneys ready to tackle your legal needs and business goals. The Brashears Law Group is committed to providing exceptional legal services to clients and foster relationships for long-term success. I personally use services provided by the Brashears Law Group to start Rugs LLC. Their qualified team of attorneys took care of me like family. Visit the Brashears Law Group online at brashearslawgroup.com and get in touch with one of their trusted attorneys today. Again, that's BRASHEARS lawgroup.com. Now, back to the show. Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm joined by my buddy NLG. Today we're revisiting an old topic that I touched on a long time ago, one of the first videos on my channel, which was a speedrunning comp for intended for Naxx, but really just Tier 7 for Classic Wrath. Today, we're going to collaborate and build out that raid comp again, because honestly, if you take a look at my old video, it is just outdated. I did an Arcane Mage stack, which I just don't believe in anymore. Plus, we have new information. Blizzard has confirmed that there will be buffs in Naxxramas. What those buffs will be, we have no idea. So this video is pure speculation. Pure prediction. We are just kind of winging it here and going based off of our own experiences. NLG here, he's a brand new content creator on the scene, good buddy of mine. We've raided together in many guilds over the years, has lots of experience on Wrath, multi-class legend, has played a lot of World of Warcraft, and is one of the highest performing Warlock players I've ever played with. NLG, super happy to have you here, man. Why don't you say hi real quick?
What's good, everyone? So yeah, Rugs, first off, thanks a lot for having me. It means a lot. And you said one of the top longest. Come on, dude.
All right, fair enough. I knew you'd get that in there somehow. Well, cool. Thanks. Let's jump right into it. I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen with you. Just a quick glance. This is my old video. Look, that's Baby Rugs over here. Old Tier 7 speedrunning comp. I think it's solid. I like where my head's at. I did triple demonology. I did huge arcane mage stack, and we 2-healed it. So this is it's something I still think is a cool comp, but let's not. I don't want to endorse that anymore. So
Yeah, I don't know about the triple demo.
I mean, on an unbuffed version of Naxx, I could see it. But let's jump into it. I think it'd be good if we started. What do you say we start with tanks first? Yeah.
Yeah, I think tanks first is fine. One thing I also there was a blue post recently where they were talking about buffing Naxx health and damage. So I think it would be good if we just established like just a baseline 20 or 30% damage and health increase on all the mobs. So it's a little closer to Warmane scripting, but it's not like, I don't think that they would mega buff it, right?
Right.
So I think we should just start with like 30 or 40%
Right.
as a baseline.
We're not expecting Volterra's level, and I don't think it would even get to be as difficult as Warmane, if I'm being completely honest. I think it'll be less than that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good baseline to start with. So for tanks, who do you think we take here?
I think so. First off, you would go at least 2 tanks. Patchwork is the only fight that you would want 3. But the first 2, I mean, you have to have your Blood Death Knight, and then you would have to have a prop pally. And then that third tank spot is what is questionable to me. So.
Right. So I'm already a little hesitant because if we're speed running, I don't actually think blood is all that necessary. So I'm with you with prop paladin. To me, like, prop paladin's a no-brainer. Like, this person obviously has their raid spot and is 100% like the main tank for the speed run. But I'm actually kind of iffy on Blood. I think he only brings Hysteria and instead just nerfs your raid because he's not bringing much damage. When so much of this raid is going to be solo tankable.
I So it's mainly for threat. That is my reasoning. I think the prop pal is going to be enough. Like, let's say for trash or whatever, I think the prop pal is going to have enough, especially what I was going to recommend later was two hunters. I think with two hunters, a prop pally, I think for tier 7, it's fine just for having that for your AoE threat.
Right.
But prop pally does suffer from uh, threat overall, especially snap threat. And even in tier 7, I would definitely bring up Blood Death Knight.
Okay. Okay. So I see what you're saying. Um, I think about some fights where threat might be an issue, and you definitely want to have good, clean pull on patchwork. Thaddeus has threat issues. Noth with the blinks and the resets. But other than that, I don't really foresee a whole lot of threat issues per se on boss fights. And even then, so I actually think what could be meta is instead of running, say, like, what if your tank setup was a prop paladin and a double frost DK? And these are pure DPS frost DKs who are only all that they're doing is throwing on tank gear for tank fights. They are not spending the 8 second or 10 second the talent change cast. I think the cast time is too much downtime. Like just throw on tank gear and literally just start hitting icy touch.
Yeah, I could actually see that. I could see that for sure. So yeah, I'm not ruling that out. I actually like that. The only thing you're missing at that point is the 10% attack power, which you're probably going to get that from some other. You could even have one of your hunters go marks, but
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm down with that. You can put whatever you want for that spot.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I think that'd be good. I mean, that way your Frost can just throw on his pure DPS gear again and then let the prop paladin solo tank trash and just like pump, because blood just does so little damage. Um,
Yeah,
okay, cool. And you only miss out on Hysteria too, and Hysteria is definitely really good, but like that's not gonna make a big difference in a speed run.
yeah, your Feral's gonna cry, but
Yeah. Okay, okay, okay. You want to do healers?
oh, healers. Yeah, we can do healers.
Okay.
I don't know how many healers you wanted,
Oh,
but yeah, you already know what I wanted.
so I know what you want. And when I saw your cheat sheet, dude, I literally had the exact same thing.
Really?
I want to run Holy Disc and Resto.
Okay, okay.
I do. I think my reasoning is Holy Disc, especially in a buffed Naxx, like these two I know for certain can solo or two heal everything. 100%, just the two of them, especially Patchwork, which is going to be a big like that's a healer check on a buffed fight. They run into issues with like raid coverage on potentially Grobulus. But the two of them are doing a lot of the heavy lifting on a fight like Lotheb as well when you need to top up tanks. Like your Holy Paladin's doing all of that for you. And even potentially on, say, like Saffron buffed could be another place that they run into and need some extra assistance where I think your Arrested Druid is there to cover that gap in the healing profile on top of the fact that they bring Revitalize for your melee.
Yeah, the revitalized thing was kind of what I was thinking too, because I was kind of hesitant on that third healer spot. I was thinking maybe Resto Shaman, maybe another Holy Pally, but the revitalize kind of makes it so that um, all the melee that you're bringing, all the DKs and rogues that you're bringing, even the warrior, if you end up bringing that, they're going to benefit a lot from that Resto Druid. While simultaneously, like you said, he brings the decurses, he brings all the stuff for buff Naxx or buff Saffron that you would want. Um, I also I'm not too sold on the dual spec being too long. I think you could very easily just go Boomy
Mm,
sometime as the Resto Druid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think you could push that to be boomy for a lot of fights and just to heal a lot of things, but it's so early on to speculate when you can two heal and when you can't.
Yeah. I think even like I seriously some of these fights I swear you're gonna solo heal. And I think even like a Nova Rack you would zero heal. And that's even buffed.
Yeah,
Like if you were going for pure like let's kill this shit quick, I think that you would go zero heal on an Uberak and a few other fights too.
I think you're exactly right, for sure. Um, okay, cool. That one's not very controversial for us. As we kind of,
Yeah. So we actually ended up agreeing on healers, but yeah.
yeah. I think you and I are going to agree on this next portion. I wanted to add in support classes real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you have to have the demo lock, and then you have to have the Boomy, the Shadow Priest, I think.
Okay, so yes, this is where I wanted to bring it up with you. This was probably the most glaring thing to me that I would rather just ditch the Shadow Priest completely.
Mm, I was thinking replenishment because I don't know if you've looked at like the buff up time of certain stuff like that, but like for example, we had I think it was 2 or 3 replenishments in one of my raids, and I didn't even have I had like 40% uptime. Again, that's private server stuff, but you know, I mean, and I also know that most of your melee are not even gonna they're not gonna get replenishment. Um,
Right.
but I was thinking at least 2 or 3 spots should be dedicated to someone who brings replenishment. And you could even have a Destro lock do it, but at that point, it's like you may as well just bring at least one Shadow Priest.
Hmm. Okay. I'll give you that because that was definitely the one thing that's like bringing Shadow in for me is the replenishment government or coverage. But other than that, like I don't see it. And even then, we confirmed if you can drink walk in Wrath beta yet? Because I don't
I
know if we have.
I have no idea. I know that someone tested the bombs, like the Serenite bombs or whatever. So it's still like on Legion client or whatever. So I would imagine that you can
Right.
drink water. But the comp that I want, I mean, half your raid's a freaking warlock. So
Yeah. We can come back to Shadow. If we build out this roster and we see that maybe we have a lot of mana replenishment and or not enough, then I'd be interested in potentially debating you again on that one. But I'll let it slide for now.
gotcha.
Are there any other support? I think these are like the three support really. Um, how do you feel about hunters?
I think they'll do great on like a standstill fight, but we're talking speed running. I think you want one misdirect for sure.
I agree.
Uh, so at least one. I think it's okay to run two. I can't remember exact. I think I just brought two specifically for replenishment. So maybe instead of that second hunter, you could go a second shadow priest. Um, But even Shadow Priest is questionable because on certain servers, I've seen Shadow Priest do really well, and I've seen Shadow Priest be dog. So
Yep. I
there's kind of a question there too.
I agree 100%. I almost feel like between this setup of a shadow survival, you kind of need to drop one.
Oh, one of the replenish or one of
Yeah, yeah.
those. Okay,
And
you would definitely take the Shadow Priest then. He also brings mana him for all your casters.
that's fair, but I don't know if that's going to be really big except for maybe a mage and healers.
I think it's even good for warlocks. I'm pretty sure. Um, I know it gives you like 20% mana temporarily. I mean, you can kind of
Right.
time your house around it and whatnot. I
Right.
think it's definitely good for your mage,
Right.
and even the actual ticks themselves are, if you're a savvy warlock, you're going to be trying to sneak some of those in.
Right. I do think having the double misdirect would be really nice, but just just to stay optimal, I want to take out one of the survivals here.
Okay.
You feel okay with this so far?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. Um, mages. I see you only have one mage, and it's arcane, and it's there for the percent buff, isn't it?
Well, it's that, and I was thinking for speed running that they're gonna go out of mana. They're gonna be out of mana a lot. Like you finish a fight, either you do damage or you're gonna be out of mana. So I'm thinking with 3 druids, that is at least one innervate per minute and then an evocate every 2 minutes. I think that you can sustain one mage but I think once you start putting in like 2 or 3 mages, I think they're just gonna be and they suck for AoE. I'm pretty sure.
I think so too. I think that mage gets a priority on probably two innervates, likely like the Feral and Resto, for example, and then the Boomy like focuses his innervate for the Holy Paladin.
I hope the Holy Paladin doesn't need it, but each boss. Who
Sure, sure,
knows?
sure. But yeah, I think you're right. If he has two mana, two innervate bots, I think you could sustain one. Pushing it any further than that would be just too tough with how mobile and how stretched out Naxx Ramus is as an instance. Plus, adding on like buffed HP values, like they're going to be stretched pretty thin. And again, we aren't 100% sure if you can drink walk yet. So I do agree with you here. Nothing too controversial here. I think one arcane mage is probably the best.
Yeah, he also brings int buff, so that's just gonna help everybody.
Of course, yes. AI is good.
And
Um, that is true. Who do you give focus magic to in this raid?
I think Boomy. Okay, so what you should do is every single global you should put it, or not every single global, but whatever warlock gets tricked, you should give it to that warlock for the pull, and then every other tricks that comes after that, you should be putting your focus magic on a new warlock so that they can snapshot their corruption.
That's ridiculous.
But but I know that people aren't going to do that. So I would say just you could probably just put it on the Boomy.
Is it too insane to put it on an enhance?
Yes,
Okay.
that's mega grief.
All
Like
right.
mega grief.
All right, all right. Let's talk affliction locks. Um, I'm pretty much filling up the rest of group 4 and group 5 with them, aren't you?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I don't remember the exact number, but yeah,
I
especially with buff content, like I've been analyzing my own stuff, analyzing a lot of different like rank 1 and realm first parses and stuff on private servers. I think that they have enough bursts at the beginning and then the insane execute, you know.
right. I think the reliability and it's just so reliably always meta, always good, always great for single target. Their survivability, their overall damage, they're just incredible. They will not have any issues whatsoever. And once Blizzard confirmed that there'd be buff HP values, first of all, everyone was like, "Oh, boss budget's gonna be too short for execute phase," and sure enough, like I was trying to dispel those that talk before Blizzard announced that there would be buffed HP and damage values, and now that we have buffed HP, like everyone needs to really shut up and get back to your place because Affliction is here and they're here to stay.
Yeah, for sure. They also have really good AoE. A lot of people say, "Oh, you have to go demo for trash." That's ridiculous. You wouldn't swap. Like, there's not enough trash in Naxx to warrant that.
Right.
It still does good AoE.
I do see a lot of people thinking like, oh, respecking here, respecking there, and I do genuinely think that like spending the downtime to cast the respec and going afterwards or losing your cooldowns on that is super not worth it in a speedrun.
Yeah, even I think as Affliction, you lose your pet. I'm pretty sure. So like,
That would be so much downtime.
yeah, fuck that.
So I do agree with you here with the affliction lock stack. I guess the only thing I could potentially see is maybe the removal of like one or two of these in exchange for a melee, which we will jump into now. If you want to talk melee, let's get started with DKs. How do you feel about potentially going like this for group 1?
Uh, yeah, I could see. So first off, I could see you dropping a lock for a melee. Maybe I don't like you need that upfront burst. And then the DK group, 2 Frost DKs, and then 2 Unholy. How do I feel about that? I don't know. With all those affliction locks, I'm really not sold on an extra Unholy. I'm kind of leaning more towards the rogues because you're able to just snapshot so much. Like you have so many locks that you have to hit twice in a fight.
You do have so many locks. I almost feel like it's a it's an uphill battle that you will never reach the finish line of. There's too many locks to go around, and worrying about tricks to me feels like um, it feels like an impossible task in a lot of ways. And I've been looking at a lot of logs, not a lot of logs. I mean, there's truthfully almost next to nothing at our disposal with legacy players. But I've been trying to do my homework on how is overall shaping up, and I specifically looked back at overall on the previous Realm First race on FM3, and the top two damaging classes for full overall was number one was Enhance, and number two was Frost Decay.
It was
Um,
intense, really.
yeah, it was Enhance. Number two was the Frosty Cave of the raid. And then came like, a wall of purple. Um, but there was only one Frosty Cave and there was only one Enhance in the raid. I really do think Frost, if they stay steady, they will continue to just be awesome. Awesome in overall. I mean, the reduced the fact that their cooldowns revolve around a 1 minute cooldown with unbreakable armor, it just means they're constantly pumping and they can spin those cooldowns on trash and not have to worry about it being up on the boss because it is going to be up on the boss.
Yeah, it also has isn't it 20-second uptime or something? I don't know too much about Death Knight, but
I want to say it's like 15 seconds or it could be 20 seconds off the top of my head. I'm not sure.
yeah. I mean, I haven't looked too much at overall, so I mean that's crazy to me that Enhance was up there because I figured they would go out of mana too frequently, especially in like a Realm First race where you're in pre-raid bis still. But yeah, I mean, if Frost DK's up there, if other DKs are up there, then I mean that's gonna beat out an assassination rogue then. So I mean, yeah, sure.
Right. But it you take it with a grain of salt that like this was one log of the Realm First guild. I mean, that's just one guild from just FM3.
Yeah, I mean most of the time it's the same players though, or it's the same comp. So I mean, it's not the worst thing to pull your info from.
Right. And so before we started this call, I was actually trying to think like, is Frosty K gonna be stackable? Is that gonna be like the big meta? Maybe instead of a bunch of affliction logs, we take a bunch of Frosty Ks. And as I thought about it, like I just don't think it. I don't see it. Affliction is just way too good on literally every single fight. I think Frost can sometimes struggle if you bring too much damage to trash sometimes. I mean, they if you don't have like a killing machine proc available with your Howling Blast, like you're just gonna kind of hit like a noodle on some packs, and then if you get the procs and your runes line up right, then you're gonna absolutely explode the trash like a nuke. I just think like you can't take too many. I'd rather just have more affliction locks than a frost.
Yeah, I don't. Another thing about Frost that I've noticed is that it, especially with buffed health, it kind of starts suffering on the longer fights. So like a 2 minute fight or something, or 2.5 minute fight, it can start suffering with that. It has like lulls in its damage, and it doesn't have a very strong execute as well.
Right.
So I think you're right on stacking Affliction over Frost, and I think you're also right about the trash. Like if you were to bring like let's say 10 Frost DKs, you would delete trash, but your boss damage would be really really slow. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think their single target is good, but there's a lot of classes that do it better, and you just need to balance your comp accordingly. I guess one thing I would adjust is potentially just bring one Unholy and maybe bring a third Frost, especially since one of these is kind of like a dedicated off tank for two tank fights.
Yeah, we could do that. They could even go Frost Presence for trash too. I think that would help a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, oftentimes whenever I'm playing my DK, I'm death gripping shit in and holding aggro and stuff, and you just survive as DK. You're just so tanky.
Yeah.
Well, great. Okay, cool. I feel good about this. Let's finish off group two. You want to bring a Feral, yes, for the crit buff, battle
Yeah.
res, and everything. I agree 100% as well. I think there's a place for Feral. I don't want to bring more than one for any reason, but I do think that their swipe damage is valid, that their single target is really good. The only thing that sucks is like you feel bad that they don't get a Hysteria in this raid comp, but I think they're still gonna blast and and bring their bleed damage and their crit to the raid, which is good.
Yeah, I'm. I don't know. I'm still kind of. I think you could play some kind of frost. Like, let's say you went blood with a hysteria or something, and then you went in damage gear, and then you could still hysteria the feral. I don't know.
So you're just talking about a straight worm blood DPS spec.
But yeah, I think even without hysteria, that the feral is still worth bringing,
Yeah.
specifically for the 5% crit. And feral's actually insane. Once you start getting like later Naxx gear, like you get journeys in, and then you get your DMC and stuff. Yeah, they start popping off.
They're incredible. I keep trying to tell people, and I'm shocked at how little interest people have in playing Feral and Wrath. Actually, I would thought there would be more, but there's not so much. And plus, they're actually going to be the one bringing the bleed, so that your combat has bleeds up, or is it combat? Is it assassination?
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I think a lot of people are scared of feral because of TBC, and I don't play TBC, but aren't you guys still using that fucking vanilla helmet or something like that?
Yeah, dude, it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's great. It's great. I love it. It's a conversation for another time, though. Okay, cool. I like Feral. I want to keep them there for sure. You want to take an enhancement? Because I do as well.
Yeah, of course.
This is your AP
Especially,
buff.
yeah, I've been looking into the. As of today, when I've been in the Shaman Discord. Nobody in the Shaman Discord has beta that is like posting any information,
It's a
but
ghost town.
yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that nobody knows if spell enhancement is going to be good or not yet, but yeah, we'll just assume that it is, and we'll assume that it's going to be top overall because of the private server meta.
Right. And if for some reason it's not, or if we need to adjust this list for any reason, I would say if you aren't taking enhancement, I'd rather take an elemental because elemental shaman is very good in Naxx typically.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah, you got to take enhance here. They are your token shaman, so they are your bloodlust bot, and they're also covering the attack power buff.
and spell haste. That's a big one.
Oh, and spell haste, of course. Yeah, yeah, they are a critical token class here.
Yeah, at least one of them.
Now, you have double assassination combat rounding out the comp.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's based off current private server stuff. So I want to talk on assassination rogue right now. As of now, there's a lot of there's like new stuff saying that the current private server. So I'll go over current private server meta for assassination is you run two either web death or paper cutters, which are incredibly fast. It's like the fastest dagger you can have. Most of your damage is poison damage, so literally 60% of your damage is poison damage. Um, and your entire build is based around spell hit cap, which is like 230 or something like that for assassination. Um, there's something to do with um, something that they've discovered in beta that your weapon swing damage actually matters now, and it's so much less about poisons. I don't know the exact math or the exact bis speed on your daggers or whatever, but people are saying that it's normalized. I guess that you would use a 1.8 main hand and potentially a 1.3 offhand or something like that. Point
Interesting.
point being with all of that is that assassination might be a little bit gimped compared to what we're getting in private servers. So I would say I know they bring tricks. They bring a 10-second uh, tricks if you glyph it, which you should. Um, and you do need enough rogues, I think, to cover all of these warlocks. But if they're really, really garbage, I mean, you could even run a second enhance in that spot, or two or three enhance if they're actually all this overall damage.
Yeah, I think one combat is for sure slotted in, no matter what for the physical damage. It's these two slots that we have issues with, and I do kind of think there's a couple ways you could go about it. I think you could straight fill these with Frost DKs. You could fill them with Frost and Enhance. I even think you could fill them with another combat rogue or even 3 combat rogues. How I would do it is I would do something probably like this, or maybe even Unholy. I would definitely avoid Rets. We're avoiding Ret. We're avoiding Arms and Fury. I don't have a place for them in this roster at all. I'd even consider potentially just going a survival here.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
So I could go a lot of different ways here. I could be convinced a lot of ways, but I can tell you where I'm not going, and that is Arms, Fury, Reds, or even thinking about bringing double assassination.
Oh, you don't like the double assassination?
I
Okay.
I don't see. I would rather run triple combat. If we're talking about overall, I think firstly, I think combat is super slept on. I think there's been enough good combat rogue players in our P server scene that have absolutely demolished meters that deserve some respect. Even though assassination is incredible single target, combat just does so much more overall. They truthfully do, and they bring just as much value because of their tricks as a assassination would. So I would rather have 3 combat if they are good performing players to provide those tricks for your raid. What do you think?
Um, yeah, combat is definitely good. If I had to guess, and I've had this argument tons of times. If I had to guess, I would say that combat is maybe 5 to 10% behind assassination. And if we're going off of the information that we just got with the weapon swing thing that I was just talking about,
Right.
combat could literally be maybe better, if not equal, to an assassination rogue. One thing, check that 3% crit thing before I keep talking.
Sure,
What
sure,
what are
sure.
we, is that is okay? So you do need an assassination rogue then.
That's
So you need at
true.
least so you need at least one.
Or you take a ret, which I'd rather take assassination.
Yeah, we're not taking a red. Red doesn't bring anything if you're wondering why. And they're really not good until like tier 9. They're really not good. Your prop pally brings improved might. Um, as far as back to the 3 combat thing, so you need at least one assassination, and then do you run? I think I would. I'd rather run a second enhance. I think in that last spot.
You think? Okay, so I was thinking either we put Enhance there, or I could even be convinced for a second Unholy, because I know how good Unholy
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that could be good too. Yeah, I'd actually rather do second unholy.
Okay, yeah, I feel good about that. That includes extra coverage for your Cursive Elements on Trash. Despite one being able to easily do it himself, this just gives more coverage. And the damage profile of Unholy versus Frost, that just complements each other really well.
Yeah, I actually last thing I have a problem with. I don't like running with one shaman. Um,
Okay.
with spell haste totem, it's kind of annoying to get out of range of it. If you were to ever have anybody die, or if lust is applicable to pets and stuff, um, yeah, I think I would run a second enhance, but maybe in the frost DK spot, one of the frost DKs,
Okay.
and then I think that's okay.
And so you'd rather still continue to have double Unholy, double
Yeah,
Frost.
yeah, double unholy.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, I could see that. What if instead we dropped an affliction lock for an elemental? What are your thoughts on that instead? For that way, like the elemental's already in the range, providing that spell haste totem near where all the range will be standing anyway.
Yeah, could be good too. And a lot of people are going to say, "Oh my god, you're bringing an Ellie, you're a moron." They actually do really well in tier 7.
They really
Um,
do.
the other thing about it is that it's going to buff your demonic pact. Um, it so for that first demonic pact that you put up, it's going to snapshot with the what is it, flame tongue totem that the Ellie brings. So
Right,
it's just an extra 28 spell power on all your locks too. So yeah.
right.
I could see that, but again, you don't have to bring the assassination rogue. You could bring a combat in that assassination rogue spot because you have Totem of Wrath down.
Oh, that's true. Oh, fuck this guy. Let's go combat.
So yeah,
That's
but,
great.
Yeah, the rogue spots are questionable. Um the Ellie, yeah, I like two shaman. I think I'm okay with this comp though overall.
I think so too. I feel really happy about this. I think you brought up a really good point with the second shaman, just for good spell haste totem coverage, and I also second lust. People are gonna die in speedruns. Like I know, like Naxx is easy, and we could go down our own like hour-long rant about is Naxx like speedrunning even like genuinely like worth your effort, or is it just a complete meme? We could spend so much time talking about that, but people will die when you're pushing this content at a speed level pace. Like shit happens. People will die, they will get battle res, and they will lose their sated buff, which means you can give them second less. That is actually valuable for your raid.
Yeah, everyone keeps talking about the solo shaman comp, and it's kind of. I feel like they just haven't played it. If you play with a solo shaman comp, I think that you, after a couple raids, you'd probably realize that you're griefing yourself. But
Right. All right, well, cool. I'm glad we kind of came to an agreement. We disagreed in a certain couple areas, but I think we hashed out like what we would deem as a pretty valuable, a very meta comp. I mean, there's definitely a lot of areas here for flex, like we've talked about. Like Holy Frost, maybe combat. We can kind of swap these around with a couple other classes, maybe not the Ellie Sham, things like that. But we do feel pretty confident about the Prot Pally solo tank and the 3 healer core of Holy Disc Resto. Again, this is all purely speculative. We have no idea what the buffs are going to be come Naxx and all of Tier 7 because these comps do translate well into OS and EOE. But I feel great about it. NLG, any closing thoughts or anything else like you want to get out before we close it?
nah, I think we left it all on the table. Only thing is, go sub to my YouTube. Thanks. It's NLG Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Again, thanks a lot for having me, Rugs. It means a lot.
Not a problem, man. It's an honor. You're a good friend of mine, and so I'm happy to do this for you. Maybe we can do some more videos like this later in the future. I will be plugging your YouTube link in the description of this video. You can also share this video on your channel as well. And I hope that your channel blows up, man, because you deserve it. Keep pumping those #1 parses, and I'm looking forward looking forward to it. Come Wrath, man.
Cool. Appreciate it, man.
All right, cheers.
Later, later.